Why God created angels at all. Angels are powerful. Angels are intelligent. Angels are everywhere in Scripture. But here's the question beneath all the others. Why did God create angels at all? If God is all-powerful, why create spiritual beings to serve Him? The answer reveals something profound, not about angels, but about God Himself. This is the foundation. God does not need angels. He lacks nothing, depends on no one, accomplishes His will without assistance. Angels were not created because God was limited. They were created because God chose to create. Creation flows from abundance, not deficiency. One primary reason angels exist is display. Angels reflect God's holiness, God's power, God's order, God's majesty. When angels worship, proclaim, or act, they make God's greatness visible within creation. They are living witnesses to God's glory. God governs through order. Angels serve as messengers, ministers, guardians, executors of divine will. This does not replace God's power, it expresses His wisdom. God delights in purposeful design. God is relational by nature. He created humanity for relationship, angels for service and worship. Angels exist within God's created order as conscious beings who know Him, serve Him, and worship Him. This reflects God's desire for a universe filled with knowing creatures, not empty power. Angels are woven into the biblical story from beginning to end. They appear at creation, throughout redemption, at Christ's birth, at His resurrection, in final judgment, in eternal worship. Their presence shows that God's plan has always been bigger than earth alone. When angels appear, humans often fear. Why? Because angels reflect God's authority, God's purity, God's otherness. Angels remind us that God is not casual or ordinary. They prepare humanity to understand holiness. This must be clear. Angels exist to serve God, to serve Christ, to serve God's redemptive plan. They never replace Christ. They never rival Him. They never distract from Him. Angels point away from themselves and toward God. Here is the astonishing truth. Angels were never meant to be the climax of creation. Humanity was. Angels serve the story of redemption, but humanity is redeemed within it. God did not become an angel. He became a man. This truth changes perspective. It means angels serve God's plan for you. Creation is ordered, not chaotic. God's power is intentional. God's grace is personal. Angels exist to magnify God's work, not replace your relationship with Him. God created angels not because He needed help, but because He delights in order, beauty, and service. They exist to worship, to serve, and to obey. But the greatest act of God was not creating angels. It was becoming human. And that tells you everything you need to know about how deeply God values you. Angels serve, Christ saves, and God reigns forever.